Mark,
Hey,
so where were we before we were so rudely interrupted by Milton and Helene?
I think we just finished Absolute Power number 3 or something.
Something like that, yeah. But we're going to jump all the way to number 7. We've done the first 6, so we're going to jump. We're going to jump to Task Force 7, number 7, Absolute Power, number 4, and DC All In, and we'll do all that right after this. So before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's right down there, right next to my name. Well, section 2815, not my actual name, because that would be weird. People just wouldn't subscribe to my name. But maybe section 2815. So subscribe, hit the like button while you're here as well. Don't forget to leave us comments. We'll be going in and out of the comments as well, the live chat. And make sure you stick around because we're going to be giving something away a little bit later on. What are we going to be giving away? Here is what we'll be giving away. We're going to be giving away the entire Absolute Power Saga. It's all foiled, so I'm not going to say foil after each one. But you have free comic book day foil variant.
Foil variant.
We have Absolute Power Ground Zero foil variant.
Foil variant.
We have Absolute Power 1 through 7, Task Force 7, number 1 through 7, foiled out of its mind.
Yeah, can you flip through those?
One.
We got the different Amazos featured. Yeah. Yeah.
I love Jade Stone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one.
Fail safe.
Velocity. Paradise Lost.
And Global Guardian.
Global Guardian.
We have Absolute Power Super Sun, the foil variant. We have Absolute Power number 1 through 4. These are not only foiled, but these are the raised UV foil variants. So these are actually kind of special. So here's number 1. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. And here's number 4. So, and then we have, because we will be closing the door on Absolute Power, we will be busting open the doors to the Absolute Universe, and we'll be doing that as part of DC Comics All In. This is the DC Comics All In special. This is the DC Bullet logo variant.
And we timed the show perfectly because if you don't win that one and you want your DC Bullet logo that's ushering in the return of normalcy and common sense at DC Comics, which got to praise them for bringing the Bullet logo back. You can get the second print of this on sale this week, I believe, right?
It comes out, yes, exactly. This Wednesday.
And the Bullet logo has a variant this week as well. I think it's white.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty wild.
Yeah, the main one is the exact same art as what Mark just showed you, only it's got a gray tone rather than the
colored
tones. Exactly.
It's colorful. It's like black and white and red almost, I think, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's absolutely cool.
I get it. That's funny. Absolutely.
Yeah. Y'all ready to go all in on the finale to Absolute Power?
We are.
DC little lingos now.
Exactly. Yeah, and this was absolute. I was actually kind of surprised when I read Absolute Power Task Force 7 because it has none of the heroes. Well, the last 3 pages do kind of have. It has Wonder Woman and Damian and things like that, but the main story has heroes that have really not been around for a long time. I remember the Global Guardians, especially Jack-O-Lantern. I remember them when they were in the Super Friends comic way back in the 70s. And the Tasmanian Devil and everything. But so we kind of jumped to this group that is really, in some ways, kind of almost nondescript. We don't ever hear from them. We don't ever see them. Very sparingly used in the history of DC. But I think the reason why they do that is to show that Amanda Waller was not just going for all the big hitters. She was going to take the powers away from every person, everyone.
All of them.
All of them. We actually start with the Global Guardians. They're being already assailed by the Amazo. They're calling in all sorts of different people to try to help them. To no avail. We just get thrown all these names of these characters that come along. We have Night Runner, we have Wild Huntsman, we have Little Mermaid, we have Jack O' Lantern, who is my favorite of the Global Guardians. Um, we have the Tasmanian Devil, Freedom Beast, who is the successor to Moana Beast. We have Jet, and they're all in Mirror World. Um,
Yeah, what is Mirror World? Do that.
yeah,
Little taste
Mirror
of the characters there.
exactly. Mirror World is where the Guardians are kind of have all gathered.
Hmm.
Mirror World. Um, But that doesn't stop the Amazo from tracking them. At first, it seems as though they may have gotten away. At one point, the Amazo actually has, as all the Amazos have been experiencing throughout these, especially the later issues, has a little bit of a glitch. And kind of falls into the ocean. But one thing we learned about these Amazos is you can just hit the reset button.
Yeah, they get
Um,
better. They get better.
exactly. He manages to come back after the Global Guardians again. We do some things where the Amazo manages to capture them all, um, uh, but in doing that, we also get some more with Steve Trevor as well. Because what would an issue of Absolute Power Task Force 7B without a couple pages of Steve Trevor? If you recall, now this all happened before the events of Wonder Woman number 14,
Which was
okay,
heartbreaking.
which was heartbreaking. So all of this happened before then. So Steve Trevor, as you may remember, he has actually been kind of leading the charge, trying to break out all the heroes that have been captured in on Gamora in the prison on Gamora. But Diana and Damien have kind of decided that they're going to do they're going to try to storm the Gamora and see if they can release as many as they can with the help of Steve Trevor inside. Um, we find out again. Steve talks about the fact that there are some that Amanda has built this thing in the bottom in the prison of Geiger. What's that?
That was a comment.
Okay. Amanda has built this kind of Stargate type contraption in the basement of the prison, and he has basically, or Amanda has set up the multiverse to kind of be her backup. That she will be able to bring in anyone from the multiverse to help defeat the heroes.
Which was
Um,
really the only redeeming part of this book for me. That's how it.
yeah,
Oh, it kind of cuts us off there, doesn't it? Like
yeah,
just checkmate.
yeah. I could tell you didn't like it because you didn't. Normally you're like, and this has happened, and then this happened. And you're like,
They're forgettable characters, throwaway characters, and they try to introduce us to what should be the Martian Manhunter version of the Amazo. And Martian Manhunter's not in the book. I guess I was expecting him in the book and didn't get him. Out of the Task Force 7 books, the Failsafe one was kind of boring because we've had Failsafe for so long
right.
now. We was kind of I wanted to get to know the new characters, and then of course the auditing dinosaur almost ruined the Superman one, but we got past that. They got past that. This one just felt like the stakes didn't feel like it was there. Like with this being the final major tie-in book for the event, all in all, we got 5 out of 7 really good ones. And really, the Jadestone one pulls the weight of the other 2 that were kind of weak. But I don't know that. And also, it's a hindsight. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback it because knowing Amanda Waller, the big tease was she has her Stargate. They'd already shown us that. They teased the crime syndicate with Superwoman in there, and we'll get to it. But like they just gave us this big tease that we know Amanda Waller's been through the multiverse. We know she dominated Earth 3, took over the crime syndicate. She came back at the end of Dark Crisis number 7, the epilogue with that hidden characters from what we assumed was Earth 3. So we know that she has this multiversal army waiting in the wings. So that's what really got me excited for the final issue of Absolute Power.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, because all of the heroes have basically been captured by this point, and so it's kind of like,
They're all free
um,
at this point, right?
well, that's true. But the powers have all been taken away except
Yeah.
for this group, the Global Guardians, were led to believe. So,
And the Flash.
and the Flash. That's right.
You couldn't catch
Um,
him.
exactly.
That was super cool.
Before going any further, I forgot to do this because usually when we're doing DC Comics deep dive, we don't have a
We're
live
not
chat.
live. But I do want to
So,
say the shout out to Paul, to us, because this is technically would be like a season finale here.
where did my
And I don't know, but that logo looks cool. But this is like a season finale, and shout out to Paul for running this and doing these season finales live because it's really fun. And if you're in the chat and you've read any of these Absolute Powers, make sure y'all chime in. Let us know what you thought of the event as we go. And if you read the issue, feel free to comment on it. And don't go anywhere because we're getting queued up for a massive, mega, absolute power giveaway before it's all said and done. J-Mad done switched it up again. Look at Eric. Look at him.
Yeah. Just realized I'm going to be I wonder what that could be. But hopefully I can catch the tail end of the stream. Hopefully you can. Lacrusis, of course. Joseph Michael. Bring on the noise, bring on the pain. There you go. Lacrusis. Woohoo. Hello
Woo!
from New Mexico. Ryan Riley. What it be like? Thank you for joining us. Heroes for Hire Club. We appreciate you. Blue Hellion Comics. Hi, folks. I'm glad for a deep dive on this one. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. Anger Management. Thank you. Dagger Cards. I'm blind. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Shiny. Paul looking extra. Oh, that's so nice. The Bullet logo is back. Yes, if you noticed, I changed the logo on our back card
I
too.
know
So
this. You don't have it here, but
right,
airing next week.
exactly.
This was the same week.
Yes, it's actually they were. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brother John, we just saw him last night. So glad to see the boys are back. Oh, that's what we should have played. He should have played. The boys are back in town.
Back in town.
Kenneth Bird, thank you for joining us. Hello from Virginia. Dale Suspense. Hello. Zabronsky, Zarabinski, Pulp Media. Kyle, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Trev, what's going on?
Hola.
Gary B, the casual guy. Thanks for joining us as well. Let me see who else I have here. Am I missing anybody? James says, my only regret, but I suppose I didn't listen to Mark and get the tie issues from the regular ones. Yeah, there were, for the most part, there were no poor issues in the tie-in, as as a rule. Some were better than others, but there was really nothing. There was nothing like what we had with Dark Crisis, where the ones just like, oh man, how did we get roped into that?
This was a perfect middle ground because I think back to the last time we had like a real deal event, which was Death Metal in all reality. And by the time it was all said and done, there was 52 books, counting the 7-issue body and all the tie-ins. And the catch was all of the tie-ins mattered. It wasn't even like tie-ins. There's 52 chapters in one ongoing story, and it was phenomenally crafted. And it's been a long time since we had an event like that. They've just done these shorter ones, and they found their footing with this where, if we're going to do tie-ins, make them count. People read these books anyways, do the event in less issues, and just so the overall event shrank down to like 28, 30 issues, counting all tie-ins, but you didn't waste any money doing it.
Right. Flo, thanks for joining us. GW, thank you. Explain it all to me, nerds. And aggressive relaxing. Is this a nighttime channel? I don't like change. It'll be back the next Monday morning. I can guarantee it. So, all right. So let's go into Absolute Power number 4. Shall we?
We shall.
Man.
Mark Waid, Daniel Sampier, the finale.
No, Dan Mora.
Dan Mora. The finale to the big mega event. All comes down to this.
Yes. Starts off with Amanda Waller slapping Green Arrow.
Every now and then you got to.
Basically because she can see some cracks in the stuff that's going on. And she can see that, maybe things aren't maybe things aren't going exactly as much as we thought. Because Ali puts it all on the table and says, "Look, this is what's happening. We got some Amazos that are glitching out. We got Jade Stone, who's not even around anymore. We got the Brainiac Queen, who is now gone. If you were reading the House of Brainiac, actually, if you're reading the Superman issues, tie-in
Mhm.
issues, you know that she's gone now. So there are some
That
cracks
was
starting to show in the Amanda Waller armor.
Yeah, that was in the Super Sun one shot that gave the
Right,
final touch to that,
right.
which is included in the foil thingy.
Correct. Correct. Um, so we got Oliver Queen having a heart to heart with Amanda Waller. At this point, he's just telling it like it is, but she's still confident. She's like they still have. She's like we still got all the weapons that you got from the Justice League. They have no idea, which is what's coming at them. So
Yeah,
how's the Val?
we cut to what's coming at them. The heroes have banded together. They don't have all their powers. They don't care. They're bigger than their powers, so they're all banded together on the dark roads. Which if you don't know what that is, go back and watch the earlier episodes. But it's a way that they travel via magic through this. They beat Agatha to the to the road, but they're all queued up, ready to go. They're about to just go storm the castle at Gamora.
Right, exactly. But they leave. They have Dick Grayson, Nightwing,
Oh, okay.
has tells one specific member, Airwave, to kind of just hang back for a second. Let everybody else go first. Um, so they go storming in, and suddenly, we find that the weapons that they had given to the Justice League weapons that Ollie had given to the henchmen that are working for Amanda Waller in the Gamora prison, suddenly are all like they're freaking out, electrocuting people. They're like totally blowing up,
Backfiring on them. Yeah.
backfiring and everything. And Amanda's like, "What the hell?" And she screams "Arrow," kind of like I could see it was kind of like that was like her con moment.
Yeah.
Um,
So she enacts her plan B. If she didn't, I don't think she trusted those soldiers, those foot soldiers, were going to do anything other than be cannon fodder. But
right,
then she rolls out her multiversal gate, and this is where we finally get our first look at what comes out of it, like a clear picture of it, and we see multiple Flash characters, all villains from across the multiverse, come into the fight, and we see like the familiar Johnny Quick from Earth 3, but people from Earth 13 named Thunderbolt, Baroness Blitzkrieg from Earth 10, and yeah, so the multiversal army is coming through.
exactly. And they're putting the fight there. But one thing that they did not know is one, Hal has his ring back. Um, so it was good to see him. And Wally is working on trying to close down the multiverse. He's working on the thing that opened it up. So that big Stargate type thing. Hal's doing all he can to try to shut it down. And before you know it, suddenly all of the Amazos appear. They're ready to join in the fight as well.
Yep.
um, Dick ends up with Amanda Waller in the same room as Amanda Waller, as well as Jonathan. They're both there. Failsafe grabs
Dick.
Dick. Failsafe grabs Dick, and
Amanda Waller pulled out some kryptonite.
exactly. So she thinks she has them beat. Um, Meanwhile, we go back and we have, if you remember, we have what
Where it
was
all
this?
started.
Yes, exactly. So we have I can't think of the character's name really. Star, um, Star,
He's
who is the yeah, exactly. Who is the time traveler? Basically, what has happened is they have used his technology. If you recall, way back in Green
ground
Arrow, I
zero.
think it was. Was it in
Huh.
Ground Zero?
Ground zero.
Okay. Ollie was looking through the different things that were in the
Oh,
in the
that's
Justice League archives. Right. That was in Green Arrow, I think. Right.
yeah. I was talking about last time we saw this star guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But he found the hourglass, which is what's important here because that's the thing that Star uses to turn back time, basically.
Yeah, and in the
Is that
very
hourglass.
beginning of this event, Amanda Waller captured him and got him to master his little hourglass technology because she used it to kind of figure out how failsafe worked, which was like the key to doing all this, to activating these Amazos and everything. Was using, she found the discarded corpse of failsafe after the Batman run. She was the one that
Right.
salvaged his body and used this guy's technology to figure out how he ticks.
Right. To basically go back in time, bring him back, and have him there. So we find that now he is basically going to be using that technology along with Batman and Blue Beetle. He's going to be using that technology to actually defeat the Amazos now.
Yeah, most importantly, they're going to use this technology to kind of reverse
Right.
the Amazo technology so that the powers that they've absorbed will be leaving them, opposed to being able to drain all the power that will be expelling from the Amazos,
Right.
which
We
is not
find
a perfect science.
exactly um, as we will come to find out.
Yeah.
So, we go back to Hal, who's still trying to hold everyone off. He's looking for some, he says, I'm running out of willpower here. So some other flashes, Jay Garrick, some other flashes join in, and he's like, oh yeah, he goes, there's nothing better than a Lantern Flash team up. So
Let me ask you this: on the page to the left of that, where
mhm,
Batman and Ted get out there in the fight,
yeah,
you see the Amazo fighting somebody and the booms and the bangs, but there's a hand sticking up out of the rubble. Whose hand is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Resistance is futile. We are like God. We are like unto gods. I never even. Oh, is that's not no, that's not Ollie's. Maybe that's Star's hand because that's the device that he uses to
Okay.
shut them down. Hey, look, my sister's here. Hi, Paul.
Hey,
Um, so they managed to hold off the people coming in from the multiverse. We find that Ali then takes the thing that was in the hand. He takes it, attaches it to an arrow, shoots it into the back of one of the Amazos, and that's when they all short circuit. They go back in time, basically, and release all the powers.
but
Um,
just the Amazo's bodies, like
right,
the tech in their bodies, go back in time. Nothing else moves. So
right.
the powers just go flying right back into me. Get that wonderful, wonderful shot of Superman right there.
Mm. Yeah, you can see that all the powers are going back into people, but you also realize that there are some things wrong because in the bottom right hand corner of the next page, you see someone saying, "Beast Girl, is that you?" Um, Gary B, we are not talking
And
about the new Wonder Woman. We will be talking about her briefly because she's part of All In, but we'll be doing Absolute Wonder Woman in our next DC
and
Comics
also
deep dive.
fire and ice, their powers are backwards right here as well.
Right.
So obviously, some of the powers are a little cattywampus, I think is the technical term.
Kitty Wampus. Wow. Okay.
Cattywampus, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Common spelling.
Amanda Waller is of course freaking out because now those little cracks have become like are expanding
Yeah, it's
across the
all falling
windshield.
apart.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
including Amazo. Amazo shuts down. Dick Grayson pulls out the billy clubs. Like, game over. No more contingency plans. That's it. He's
And who comes
ready
out?
for
And who comes
victory.
out? But Dream. Dream is back. She
Dreamer's
comes
talking
flying out.
again.
What's that?
She just kind of pops out of nowhere.
Right. Well, we're told that what happened is that you really can't
Don't
kill
say
a
it out.
dream. You
Oh, that's
can't
terrible
kill a
line.
dream. Right. It is a terrible line, but you can't kill a dream. And Jonathan kept the dream of Dream alive, and so she was in the dreamscape. She was able to reformulate herself and become corporal again, and that's how she ended up coming out and basically punching Amanda Waller right in the face.
Like she went out like a hero. Like I think that was so cheap to bring her back like that. Like she's a cool character. Like
Yeah,
she hasn't had a bad appearance yet since they brought her into comics during the Lazarus event. She was awesome in the Suicide Squad Dream Team. She was like kind of like she was like a good setup character for this whole event. It was been great. And her death was like, oh damn, she went out in a blaze of glory.
yeah,
And then she's like, I didn't go anywhere. Psych. I know it's only been a month. Like, oh, come on.
Does Mark mean Hothwomper? Is in the creature that attacked Luke in the original trilogy?
That thing killed my Tom Tom.
Don't be touching my Tom Tom.
But we come back to the big battle, and our heroes are all powered up, and they're just wrecking it. You
Right,
see Wonder Woman and Arthur just side by side, just smashing Amazos.
right,
And you
and
see some of the dissent between the heroes at this point because they see Ollie out on the field. They're like, "Yeah, you
right,
rat, you
right.
piece of trash."
And this is when we find out exactly what was going on with Ollie. That he was, in fact, he worked with the Martian Manhunter to put a psychological or however you want
Yeah,
to call it,
John made him
block on
forget
him.
that. Yeah, John made
Exactly.
him believe he was really working for Amanda Waller, so that Waller's telepaths couldn't see through the
Right.
facade.
He said the only way it would work would be if I actually believed that I what I was saying. And
Which makes you
so,
wonder, how did he ever work against her if he actually believed he was working for her?
yeah, exactly. Well, he did say that he did have. There was some sort of a time thing that was set to expire at some point, and that's when he
It
was then
expired when John was drained, I thought.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
We learn all that later, though. That comes later
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Green Arrow book, I think.
We'll get back to that. So, um, so back to John and sorry to Hal and Barry. They're still working on it, and he's like, you got to close the gate now. And Barry's like, if I do, it's forever. We'll be cut off from the multiverse forever. Flashback to Amanda Waller having her moment as the nastiest villain ever, with her rant that basically says that it doesn't matter whatever happens. Everyone believes you guys are the bad guys because that's what I told them. I used the AI from the Brainiac Queen to show everybody how bad you were, and so they'll never believe you. You won't be able to set foot anywhere. I've still won. And then that's when Airwave appears.
A
Dick
living
says
Wi-Fi
a
signal.
living Wi-Fi signal who has basically just
This
taken all
frequency.
that and transmitted that to every single device on the Earth. So, um,
So
so
everybody
exactly
saw her terrible villain rant monologue at the end there, clearing their names. So to be fair, Ryan, this would sound complicated if you're getting in at the end, but this is the finale to an event. So there's this all built up through issues. Like it really is just like a closing doors that were already open that you've been like opening along the way kind of deal.
correct. So that's the end of Amanda Waller. We find that she is then put into Belle Reve prison, um, and we find 2 days after it happens, people are starting to get back to normal. Barry has no powers.
That's
Um,
important. There's one little homage. Like it was
yeah,
Barry that was sitting there tick tacking on the multiverse machine, who shut it down, took an explosion, and that shot right there.
right.
This is an event book, so I think there's always a Flash getting carried out somewhere in them.
At least he made it out. At least he made it out of this one alive.
Yeah,
Usually one of the flashes doesn't make it alive.
it's kind of their thing.
Right. Um, So we go. We find out that Waller is in Bellevue prison. She is being confronted by Dream again, and Amanda Waller says, "Doesn't matter. You can keep me in there as long as you want. I know everybody. I know every secret. I know where everyone is. I know the loved ones of everyone." And Dream was like, "Really? Do you? Tell me where's the Batcave?" She's like, "It's. I'll tell you. It's." Then she can't. Where do the birds of prey meet? What's Green Lantern's alter ego? How about Mary Marvel? What's Cyborg's real name? And every time she starts to say it, it's like it's at the tip of her tongue, but it doesn't come to her. And that was the effect of Dream, who did not wipe away her memories because that would be unethical. Instead, she just put him in a place where she really can't get to him.
I was about to say clearly Dream was not around for Identity Crisis.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
We learned that you don't wipe minds. That
Yeah. Exactly.
backfires,
Right.
especially not your
Yeah.
teammates.
Yeah. Batman probably said, just do it.
Wasn't it Batman they held down in
It
mind
was.
wipe? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. If y'all have never read Identity Crisis, you're doing a terrible disservice to yourself. Brad Meltzer,
Yes.
amazing.
It gets a bad rap, but he is such a good writer.
I don't know about that bad rap. I ignore negativity about that book.
Mm, I liked it. So
Yo, I loved it. It's one of my favorite all-time DC reads.
right.
Rags
Uh,
Morales. Oh,
oh, the scene where he's holding Sue Dibney. Like,
and then
man,
right after that, when he can't even hold his own face together.
right, right.
Oh,
So we flash now to the original Justice League headquarters, which, by the way, is in Rhode Island, where I grew up. Happy Harbor, Rhode Island, um, which I don't think is a real place, but
it is
maybe it is.
now.
It is now, but it was in Rhode Island anyway. So, and we find Ollie talking with the Trinity, saying, "Hey, you know what? They're saying, there's a lot of things really, we may never get Red Tornado back. We got all these things that are going on. People's powers are all over the place. We don't know what's going on. Um, um, and they're like, first of all, Red Tornado may be irreparable." Two, when the superpowers were released, not all of them went back. We got to figure that out. And three, it's all we can do not to break your knee. So he's like, you know what? I get what you're saying, but in honor of the Titans, I can't really talk about how, they did the best that they could, but the world really needs a Justice League. If the Justice League had been together, this wouldn't have happened. We would have been able to solve it before it got to this point. And so that's when they say, "Oh yeah, we want to show you something," and we see the first kind of hologram picture of the new Justice League Watchtower, and it says that we will see more of it in All In and Justice League Unlimited. And that's where Absolute Power ends, basically.
That's
Um,
where an entire era of DC ends, an
right,
entire initiative, the
right,
finale to Dawn of DC.
right. And then, what do we got then? Then we got,
So that's our event. That's it. That's
right,
absolute power. But we're not stopping there tonight. We're
no,
going all in tonight.
exactly.
The
Um,
DC
all,
funds don't stop.
exactly. All In, for those of you who do not know, is a flip book. It has the current DC universe on one side, Paul's origin story. What is Paul's first appearance?
And for
Uh,
Gary B, some Wonder Woman.
there you go, some Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
There
for
you go.
everyone else that this isn't just a one shot. This is the start of DC's jump on point, their entire initiative for this new reading era where if you're thinking about getting on books, this is the time to do it. That's kind of the biggest point of how they brand things like Infinite Frontier, New 52,
Dawn of
Rebirth,
DC.
Dawn of DC, in this case, All In. So when you go to a shop and you see, oh, Superman's on issue number 1753, man, I do I have to read all of it? But you see it says All In, and there's only two of them out there that might say it. So it's the start of a story, a lot of starts of new creative teams and stuff like that. But whenever we get an initiative, it always kicks off with a great one shot. It's kind of like a who's who and a where's where. So if new readers want to jump on, they get a lay of the land before you get into it. And that's what they do in this tenfold. And they also introduce us to something brand new at DC that they haven't done before. And it's the talk of the town.
Yeah. So this is not only the kickoff of one initiative. This is the kickoff of two initiatives. Dose initiatives. Um,
Those initiatives.
exactly. So the
That
first
means
one
two.
is thank you. So the first one is All In. You're so multilingual. Um, so the first one is set in the current continuity. It is DC All In. For those of you who didn't know, all of the major titles basically ended their current storylines as of the end of September. And so the new storylines with All In that are kind of will spring out of what we're about to talk about are the DC All In. We have new creative teams, like Mark said, new creative teams, new storylines. We have all these different things. Great place to jump on. So, but as DC is wont to do, they have to somehow finagle in the number 52. So we do 52 days later.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah. So after absolute power, everything across continuity is picking up 52 days after that event. So again, it's part of the jumping on point like strategy. It's not bogged down by that event. That event happened. Everyone's licked their wounds. They've healed. They're already moving on.
right. And so now we see, besides, we don't just have a hologram anymore. We have an actual building, a satellite, the Watchtower. And we start off by just kind of recaps everything that's kind of gone on, not only in Absolute Power, but really since we really started this, because this goes all the way back to Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so there's a little, one panel homage to Dark Crisis, to Night Terrors,
What
to,
side are you on? Oh, you passed the first page.
oh, on
Man,
page two.
this kicks off with them making the membership card, coming
Right.
together like butt cheeks, using the technology of Wayne Enterprise
Mhm.
and Terrifitech, using the technology of the Fortress of Solitude and the Ring of John Stewart, Thanagarian technology, infusing magic from the green from Wonder Woman, Zatanna into this card. And so these cards are like none other, and these cards are getting sent out automatically to any and all, because if they're going to reform the Justice League, they have to open it up differently. It has to be for everybody, and not because it's a participation badge, but because it takes everybody to overcome some of these obstacles they face. And the Justice League was formed originally for problems that are too big for just any one person. And there's stuff that requires everybody. But there's one member out there, one member who doesn't deserve their card to just to be sent to them. It deserves to be hand delivered by Superman himself. And in the midst of Superman flying there, we as a reader get to reminisce, like Paul was talking about, on everything from Dark Crisis to where we are now, which beautifully mirrors this show itself, which started with Dark
Mhm.
Crisis, and here we are now.
Right, exactly. And Beckman, I didn't take off the whole day, but I did take like a 2.5 hour lunch that day when the new 52 came out. Um, and we see them. They basically say start right off the bat that look, you know what, we're going to have to cast a wide net. No more, because it was always okay. Who's going to be the seven people in the Justice League? Was kind of the thing. So the cards go out to all different people. Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people say, the last time it didn't work out too well for me, so maybe you sure you really want me to, be there. That's Metamorpho. Um, and you get, Damien, who basically just says, you know, he can't be bothered by it.
Yeah,
Um,
he's above it all.
right. But the one person that Mark was talking about that has his card hand delivered is to Booster Gold. He has it hand delivered, and he can't believe it. At first, he's stopping a crime in Metropolis with Skeets, and he's actually contemplating going back into the future to go to stay in the future, because he thought, maybe he's spent all the time that he really needs to spend here in his past. And then Superman stands that finds him, and he's like talking to. She's like, "Wow, this is Superman," and at first he thinks he's in trouble, and he's like, "I didn't do it. Whatever. Ted Cord said, I didn't do. Mostly. Hey, friend." And he's like, "No, don't worry about it. That's not that." And he hands him his membership card in person, and it's meaningful for him, because we see in a flash forward back, if you want to call it that, um, that they're actually in the future. At one point, Booster Gold was actually an employee of a museum, and in the museum was a copy of a blank card, a blank membership card, and it was said to correspond to an important date in history. And so that's, and it kind of looks like the one that he got, except obviously this one has his picture on it. But we'll find out that blank card has meaning to it as well in just a second.
We will, because Superman tells him to be at the Watchtower and don't be late.
Right. And so we go to the Watchtower. We find out a couple of things. We see, all these different heroes there. We find out that the
Oh yeah,
question
let's talk
when
about rolling into the Watchtower. That was a scene right there. Like you get the
yeah,
shot from space with the whole Guardian Corps coming in. You got Blue Beetle flying in. You got the Titans Firestorm is there walking
mhm,
in through their big boom tube. You got the rest of the Titans, some of the next guard like with Yara Flor and stuff. And
mhm.
then you see Ted and Steel. Is it Steel wearing a spacesuit? Is that a thing?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, working on the outside of the watchtower, you have Black Lightning and Black Adam using some electrical abilities to kickstart some generators. Oracle working on computers, and yeah, like you're about to say, the first shot of our updated Renee Montoya question, which is somehow
right.
the
She
security
is
guard.
she is in charge of security for the Watchtower. So,
What?
um, We'll find out more, I'm sure, in her miniseries that's coming out in a little while.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, she was a policeman, right? So
Like
right,
she's no powers in here with like the biggest, baddest people you can think of. Can't breathe in space.
right.
Something goes wrong, she'll just ask it a question, though, I guess.
Yeah. And so they all then fly into this room, and then we get the big reveal of everyone in the room. We see that we see the Teen Titans, we see the Birds of Prey, we see the Green Lanterns, we see the magical Doctor Fate, Firestorm, Swamp Thing is there. We have a panel with the JSA in there, and we then also see we see Doctor Midnight. Talk about the fact that there's one special card. There's one card that has no picture on it, and that's always for the next person to join.
Yeah, and as
Um,
he's saying it, the card starts to light up and fizz and make some noises and stuff.
right.
And it
Then we
doesn't
start.
stop there because then all the computers start doing the same thing and the alarms go off. Something's approaching, security protocols activated, and what's his name, Booster and Skeech, like, whoa, this doesn't register in the history records, and this is where I started to get a little bit angry.
Yeah. They bring Super Rat Frontiers. She's actually a backup in Action Comics right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
Supergirl stories running
Sure.
in action, and then Superwoman is appearing in Superman right now.
Right, and getting her own special. But
Mhm.
then we see, we see something. Some panels are upside down. We see it looks like as though there are
Everyone.
panels from behind that are burning through to the front or whatever.
People
So
starts getting possessed as well. Zatanna, Green Lantern, Swamp Thing, Doctor Fate. All the characters start talking backwards and upside down. The dialogue bubbles are actually. I thought it was going to be Zatanna backwards talking, was going to drive me nuts. But then everyone started backwards talking upside down at that. So now I have to turn
I
the
know,
book all the way around. But it says, finally, I will know the truth, is what Zatanna says. Jim
right?
Corbin, the Spectre, because you will tell it to me. And it's dark side is, dark side is, dark side will be. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh boy.
I know. As if it's not bad enough that they make you read backwards, now they got to make you read backwards and upside down.
Yeah, and then this was super creative though. Like what a way to do, like use the actual medium you're working with.
Mhm.
Like you were talking about how the pages start to look like they're burned through and a different reality is showing through, or a different time or a different place. We don't know. We have to keep reading to find out.
Right. So everyone says basically, you know what, that's not good.
Yeah, get ready.
Until finally, what appears is Darkseid, who it appears as though he has the possession of the Spectre.
Yeah, boom tube opens up, omega beams are flying out of everybody's eyes, and a one-handed dark side with a giant axe on the stump pops out, and they're like, "Holy crap! Darkseid is bonded with a Spectre. That's not good." And everyone just immediately dives into action, attempting to fight. And I'm like, "What are you going to do? What is
Yeah,
Darkseid with the Spectre? What are you going to do? You're
right,
done. You're cooked."
right, exactly. But they jump into action anyway. You mentioned this at one point. At this point, the Batman ends up with a new suit, so he now has what appears to be a new battle suit. It seems as though.
They
Um,
materialized out of nowhere too. That's the
yeah,
important part. So I'm excited to see where this goes because this suit I think is shown on some of the covers for the upcoming Justice League books. That might be some new all-in stuff that we can look forward to.
yeah. Everyone starts fighting. The dark side. We end up with Zatanna. We have Zatanna imbuing Superman with some magic. So he goes up against him, and finally, it is through him, through Superman, basically talking backwards. Mark's favorite character is talking backwards now as well. Basically saying, he needs to be free of the Spectre. He does. Um, Darkseid actually says thank you. Darkseid ends.
Yeah, so he shoots an Omega beam at Superman that Zatanna put a little spell on, and Superman yelled, "Free him!" backwards. And the act of Superman saying that caused a reaction in Darkseid where he yells that. Now it is semi-important to remember Darkseid's words. Nothing can stop me from fulfilling my destiny. Uh, the whole thank you thing. because they're all assuming that he's sitting here just rambling at them and they don't know what he's talking about. But
Yeah.
that'll come into play later.
Yeah, Gary B. I thought DC would have put out a free Halloween comic to promote the all-in or absolute launch. Funny because I mean, Halloween has typically been another time where they would give away free comics. I haven't heard about that this year though. So
No, they Marvel sent some out.
was there? Okay.
Mhm.
Wasn't there a story where Mitch particularly merged with the Spectre? I don't remember that. I remember when he merged with the Joker. I
Yeah,
believe.
well, Darkseid does this fizzle out,
Yep.
boom, explode. He's gone. There's actually a rift left in the middle of the watchtower that's surrounding this card, and they're looking through it and everything. And Flash says he's seen one before. It's a rip in time and space. And Superman is telling everyone to return to their station. We got to figure this out. Cut to the next scene. They call in Orion of the New Gods, which is huge because Ron V is going to be writing the New Gods series. It's going to be starting soon, and that's all part of Kirby's Fourth World with Darkseid and stuff. And they're asking him, "Where's Darkseid?" And he's telling them, "Well, I don't know. He's not on Apocalypse. We don't know in Eugenesis. We don't have a clue." And they're asking, "Is he dead?" He's like, "Darkseid can't die. I hate to break it to you. He's a universal permanent." So
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, they ask Dr. Midnight, and he's like, I don't know. And Superman's like, I get
Mr.
scared when you say that. What's that?
Mr. Terrific.
Sorry, Mr. Terrific. Yeah. What did I say, Dr. Midnight?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
It's a cool character, though. Dr. Midnight's dope.
Yeah, definitely a cool character. Just not the one that happened to be in the story.
Darkseid needs a super band-aid. He's got him covered.
He asks Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific says, I don't know. And Superman says, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and this is where we get to the good part. They're like, ever since the multiverse was cut off, I've been studying its impact on our universe. And after Darkseid's death, I noticed something. A hidden world we found before has been activated. And Superman's response is, the Elseworld?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. The Alpha world. After Perpetua and the Darkest Night's defeat, our timeline was restored and we detected new worlds in the multiverse. When we first discovered this Alpha world, we couldn't see into it, but were able to deduce that it was a primordial state and unfinished. But now it's changed. It's now finished and it radiates the same energy as Darkseid.
Correct. And apparently the only people that can now travel to these lands are people that have a high tachyon number, which means that in the comics anyway, the people that have high tachyon numbers are time travelers. So who do we have who's a time traveler? Back to our Mr. Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. So he's like, all right, I'll do it. I'll go through there. I'll take a peek. I'll see what's going on. So Mr. Terrific, not Dr. Midnight, imbues Skeets with a little bit of
Dr. Terrific.
Like multi-universal GPS, so like they can buzz him back home if things hit the fan. And you get a lot of cool hero shots. Daniel St. Pierre's art is phenomenal. And Booster goes walking in bravely and dives into the rift and goes and becomes lands in an unknown place.
Yes, he has a very Terminator-like landing.
He really does. It looks like he does. I thought he was naked for a second. Like
that would be an absolute. I get it, an absolute Terminator landing.
Yeah, but he lands and he immediately he says, "Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!" Stands up and he sees a world covered in red skies, Omega symbols everywhere, and as soon as we see that happen, we cut back to the watchtower. He's off the grid. They like no sign of him. Where'd the signal go? He just jumped in. We lost him immediately. He'll find his way home. We'll figure this out. And he's beeping for Skeets. He can't get back home. No Skeets. And next thing you know, Omega beams are flying at him.
Right. But if you noticed too, when they flash back to the watchtower, they go back a few minutes in time because they say the exact same thing that they had said on a previous page. We are going there, correct? And it's like I would advise against that. And he goes, let's talk. There must be a way, which is the exact same thing. And then we see on Booster Gold's finger, we see we see a Legion ring, but it has an Omega symbol on it instead of the L. And that's where we hear, finally I have found my army, my Legion. And that's Darkseid talking. And it says to be continued in the Absolute Universe. And where does the Absolute Universe start?
Right now.
Starts on the flip side. So
that is our Absolute World. That's our first introduction to it. So at this point, we take our book and we close it at the halfway point and flip it over.
Right, exactly. And this side has Wes Craig doing the art. Much different than Daniel Sampier. Kind of, rougher and everything, but it kind of fits along with Darkseid and everything. And, how he's building. We see him actually kind of building this world. We find out that, through some of the things that he has done, he has been built a miracle machine that he needs to.
Whoa, you just spoil it right off the bat, huh? Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
wait, then you go ahead.
Wow. That was a reveal. That was a
Okay.
reveal. My goodness. 52 days earlier from the event where we just were at, which would be, which would, I guess, have been like 104 days. Anyways, Darkseid sitting on Apocalypse and he detects something. Something's different. Something happened. And it's got him thinking, what is that? What did I just feel? And he immediately goes to work. We don't know what he's doing, but he's building something. And now you know what he's building. But he's got one of the creators of it captive, holding him hostage, like dangling the life of his family for the information he wants. And Darkseid's getting this machine, but the machine doesn't work on its own. It has to be bound by blood. So you see him take up an axe and sever his own hand off and feed his blood to this machine. And it gets humming, but it's not enough. It needs more. And about this time, Darkseid's family comes up to him. You got Calabac, Granny Goodness, asking like, "Yo, man, you've been chilling up here solo for a while, being weird, brooding. We figured you were testing us, so we built you the greatest armor you've ever seen. Instead of parademons, we got like paradevils. Like, check them out. Aren't you impressed? We can just kill stuff now." Darkseid's like, "Yeah, go back to work. I'm not worried about none of this." And Calabac isn't trying to hear none of that. It's like, "Yo, man, what's going on? Tell us. We will help you. We will fight with you." Grail's even talking trash to him. Darkseid shoots some Omega beams at him, tell him to go on now, get. And Calabac's still not having it. He's like, "Yo, man, this isn't okay. We want to help." He's like, "Okay, you can help." And he takes his bloody stump and kills his son with it, stabs it through Calabac, holds him up, and throws his whole body into the miracle machine because it needed more Darkseid.
Whoa. No, I'm just kidding.
And Darkseid's blood is in Calabac.
Is in Calabac, right.
And now once he gets this machine humming and pumping properly, Darkseid starts his quest. He's looking for the one who can answer his question of what it was that he felt, what's going on, what's different. And he goes straight to the gates of hell to get an answer. And he's not down there asking questions. He's down there destroying demons, just wrecking hell itself. And you see some
you got people offering all sorts of deals to try to make him stop.
Yeah, it looks like you got Clarion down there. You got like the devil.
You got Blaze, Trigon. You got Eclipse. He goes to Eclipso on the dark side of the moon. They're always, they're offering all these different things. Is like one of them offers him to be able to give pain to everybody. Another one offers to bring back, the person that he loves. He's like, no.
Until they give him the information he wants, and he goes to heaven and tears it up.
Right.
Till they give him the information he needs. Right. And that's when he goes, I know where my answers are. And he goes to the dark side of the moon where Eclipso is, the OG Wrath of God. And that was a cool interaction because Eclipso's sitting there waiting at the chessboard for Darkseid to come back and make his move. And he's like, "I'm not here for none of that." And Eclipso's like, "Yo, here, I'm more powerful. There's no light." And he's ravaging Darkseid. And Darkseid's just laughing, not caring. He came prepared. He's like, "Dude, I'm not here to fight. You're gone." And he boom tubes him to the brightest star in the known multiverse, like right into the middle of it, and wipes out Eclipso. Just no problem.
Yeah.
That's where he finds his prize.
Right. And who do we find is the prize? Well, we kind of had an inkling in the first half of the story that kind of bled through to the second to this part of the story, or this part bled through to the first part, and that's Jim Corrigan, the Spectre. And he basically is saying this is where we find out that he wants to bond with the Spectre, and he's interrupted almost immediately by the Quintessence.
Yeah, because this is such a big deal that the Quintessence step in. And that's like the collective of the DC Universal powerhouses, the Phantom Stranger, High Father, Zeus. You have one of the Guardians of the Universe there. Mm-hmm. It's they're no joke. Even for Darkseid, they're no joke. But they try to stop him, and they're like, "The Spectre will never bond with you. You can't just take it." He goes, "Oh yes, I can." And that's when they realize he built the miracle machine. And he just makes a wish. He's like, "I wish to bond with the Spectre." Over with. That wasn't even a fight. And man, that shot of the Spectre just violently against his will coming out of Jim, going to Darkseid, it was just wicked cool.
Mm.
And pretty
Right.
much instantly,
Yeah.
you're the
Uh,
watchtower.
right. Exactly. So then we see the fight again from a little bit different angle at the Watchtower, and that's where we kind of get the whole the difference between the current DCU and the Elseworld, where we talk about how the the DC universe is built on hope and everything, but something that I thought was it's one of those things that is again is so it seems like it's so simple that no one ever thought of it before. If you recall, like if you go to all these different Earths, you can find a million Batman, a million Superman, a million Green Lanterns, but there's only one Dark Side.
Yeah, this is where we get the exposition of who, what, why Darkseid is. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's the fight that he was having against the Justice League. All of the dialogue that Darkseid spoke in that fight was not to the Justice League. The whole time he was talking to the Spectre, who is bonded with him, and they're having their own battle inside his essence, along with fighting on the outside with the Justice League. And the Spectre is explaining what he felt, what he saw, and it goes back to absolute power when Barry shut down the gateway to the multiversal army. It shut off the multiverse, which has been very accessible to everybody. And by doing that, Darkseid got a flash of his actual potential, of his actual power. And they explain how every world and every time the multiverse retracts, it always starts with life. Life is inevitable, and that the center of that life is hope, and at the center of that hope is Superman, the equal opposite of that. And that every time that life begins and anything comes out of it, Darkseid will manifest. He is an inevitability, and because the multiverse expands, he doesn't. He dissipates over it. And
Mm-hmm.
he got a feeling for that split second of what it felt like to be whole again. And that's what he's craving. And that's what he wants. And now that's what he knows how to go get.
Right. Um, we see our fight. We see the different fights that Darkseid has had through the years. We see a flashback to Final Crisis. We see Superman and Supergirl fighting him as well. So we take a quick history through.
A little
Um,
Infinite Frontier.
yeah, yeah.
Christ, his first appearance right there. Jimmy Olsen.
On the TV screens, like
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
good stuff.
and then we see the scene again that we saw in the first half of it where Superman with being imbued by magic by Zatanna tells him basically to leave. He tells the Spectre to leave. He does, and that just says thank you. Dark Side ends. Um, and as Mark said,
Which he was saying to the Spectre.
right, exactly. And as it ends, so does something begin as well. And this is where the universe that is Dark Side comes into creation, and we see a hand creating the world, kind of like we did, and even Wes Craig even uh, says that he basically took it from George Perez, the hand holding the world from the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then we see the three. Darkseid kind of explains exactly what the universe means. It's being the underdog. It's instead of having someone come from Themyscira, we have someone who comes from Hell. And this is where we see the first appearance of our three absolute characters. We first see Wonder Woman, and then we see Batman, and then finally we see Superman.
Mhm. And he gives us the breakdown. The like you said, it's if that world was driven by life and hope, then this one would be driven by challenge and turmoil. Instead of being raised in paradise, you'd be raised in hell, where they are small chaos rather than the system itself. And will it be better? What is it? Where it is the villain, the opposing force, and where it will have to burn brighter than ever before to survive it all.
Right.
And it's just it's creepy. Sick twisted dude here.
Yep.
Above all, it is mine. It is me.
Right. And he apparently his plan is once he controls everything there, his plan is to go to all the other worlds as well and get them as well. So, and then we jump right back into Booster Gold again, and we see the same story, the same panels basically,
Just
just
drawn
drawn
by
by
Wes
Wes Craig.
Craig. Yeah.
Um,
No
uh,
naked booster though, which was a real bummer.
Yeah, exactly. And we see, finally I have an army, and it says my legion again, and then it says that will be continued across the absolute universe, across the DC universe instead. So, and we've seen them. We
What
we've seen them start. So we've already had seen the first two. Before you go, Kyle, we're going to give away our drawing now. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick before you go. So let me share my screen. We're going to do a giveaway tool. It's going to be hashtag absolute power. Just go ahead and type in hashtag absolute power. Again, what you can win is you can win the entire absolute power, the free comic book day, absolute power ground zero, absolute power task force 7 number 1 through 7, absolute power 1 through 4, absolute power super sun, and the DC all in special. So you can win all of those. Just hashtag absolute power.
are they foil?
They're all foil. I got away by, I said it once, but I didn't say it this time. So
So say it like 14 times.
issue 1 foil, issue 2 foil, issue
But
3.
as far as that all in special goes, it was probably like easily in the top 5 single greatest issues from DC this year. In my opinion, with just how much it's set up, how much it references, how much it calls back, and I just love the. Said it before. I just love being that guy with the board with the red string, like trying to work it all out. This was like providing the string for you. It's like, here, go make your chart because we're going for it.
Yeah, and we talked about this on your at week's end too. Is it makes sense why Scott Snyder is kind of, although he's not running every single issue, he's kind of the person that's kind of brought the absolute universe together
Mhm.
because it goes all the way back to his death metal. So
January of 19.
yep,
That's crazy.
it is. It really is.
January
Um,
21 too. It
playing
was years
playing the
ago.
long
Yeah,
game.
yeah. When they first discovered that there's a new world out there, which if you go back and read that, it's the center of the universe or the center of the multiverse is our Earth Prime or Earth One, and the Elseworld is also sitting at the other center of the multiverse. Which I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that is a thing.
Right. All right. We're gonna go ahead and draw now in
Oh,
3,
good luck,
2,
everybody.
1. Let's go. Come on, come on. Joseph
Hey,
Michaels,
Adventure
even. Just
Joe. Boom.
congratulations.
You are all in.
You are. I know I have your address, so um,
Huge congrats.
absolutely. Yeah, so that's gonna be it. Thanks for joining us on this special live edition. Next week, next Monday, we will take a look at Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman, and then that will set us up going forward. And then the week after that, we'll have Absolute Superman. So a couple of weeks, straight weeks of some absolute issues coming your way. So don't miss those. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button before you go. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we did if you've seen this on the rewind. And that's going to be it. But as always, I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And you're now leaving Sector 2815.